What's up, guys? Ricky here. Do you love Most Valuable Podcasts? And are you like myself where things that you like, you just have to let people know because they've got to be on your t-shirt at all times? If you do, you're in luck because we got Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. You've probably seen myself, Dave, Mark, Sean, Brandon. You might have seen us wearing these t-shirts in videos. The good thing is now you can get your hands on one too. How do you do so? First off, send us an email, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your size, your address. We will then send you an invoice through Square. That's how you'll pay for it, $22 per shirt. And then after we get the money, we will send you a great Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt for you to wear so you can tell everybody that you love listening to Most Valuable Podcast. So go check it out. The directions are also in the description. What are you waiting for? We got the shirts just for you. But Mark, let's go ahead and end the podcast like we always do, making our picks for the upcoming week in the NFL. And let's start things off. Both these teams played on Thursday. They get a full week off playing on Thursday again. The 5-6 Redskins, the 5-6 Cowboys. We're actually going to talk about them this week. But Eli Manning decided to get himself benched, so that pushed the Cowboy topic out the window. Cowboys haven't been good. They're 0-3 since Ezekiel Elliott had been benched by the NFL. Mark, Cowboys right now are 1-point favorites. Who you got, the Redskins or the boys?
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to pick the Redskins on this one. I'm going to roll with there's a lot of unrest in Dallas. And to answer the question of who's more at fault, Dak or Jason Garrett,
it's Jason Garrett.
I would pick Jason Garrett. I don't think I would really blame Dak. I mean, he's doing what he can, but the team is really built up, and they need Zeke. They need Zeke, otherwise they're not going to be very good, and that defense is injured. So this boring-ass Thursday night game, because Thursday night games are always terrible, I'm picking the Redskins.
Kirk Cousins, Samaje Perine, Jamison Crowder, they're all going to have good games. They're going to get the win. The Cowboys also, they look pretty good in the first half. In second halves, they look like the Cleveland Browns. It'll be the same here. Redskins get the win over the Cowboys. Then the Sunday games, and because I'm logged into my personal account, the first one up on my list is the Vikings and the Falcons. Falcons, a field goal favorite in Georgia. Who you got, Mark?
I'm going to go with the Vikings. I'm going to roll with them. I think they're doing a really good job. I think that defense is really good, and I don't believe in Atlanta. It's pretty. I know they had a good game this past Sunday, but I'm not going to believe in them.
One thing I will say about my last pick about the Vikings last week, I should have taken my own advice. I should have put money on that game because remember what I said. Take the parlay, take the Vikings -3 and the over-under. Both happened. I should have put money on, Mark. I could have won a little bit of money on Thanksgiving. I'm going to go with the Vikings yet again, although this is a game I mentioned in our Vikings segment that I'm not worried about, but this is the one where it's like, okay, how are we going to play against a team that is right now late in the season a playoff caliber team as the Falcons are sitting there at 6th in the playoff standings in the NFC. So I'm going to go with my Vikings, but it's going to be an interesting game to watch. Moving on, though, AFC East matchup. Tom Brady at 9-2, the Bills at 6-5. Patriots are 8.5-point favorite. No reason to pick against Tom Brady at New Era Field.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got Tom Brady out there. You don't pick against Tom Brady. It's that simple.
Moving on, we've got Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners, 1-10 Niners coming in to play the GOAT Mitch Trubisky and the Chicago Bears. The Bears are 3-point favorites. I'm actually going against the line. Garoppolo comes in, wins it in his hometown, and the 49er fans rejoice because they finally win a game with Garoppolo.
To be fair, this line is set with I don't think they're certain that Jimmy Garoppolo is out there.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo,
the line right now is 3.
Jimmy Garoppolo being out there pushes this in favor of the San Francisco 49ers, I would believe.
Okay.
And with that being said, I'm going to pick the Chicago Bears. I do think here's the thing.
Bear down, right, Mark?
Always bear down. And Mitch is out there. So
and Mitch is out there.
The big thing is the Chicago Bears look terrible against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they should because they are the best team in the NFL. It's expected. They have an easy part of the schedule now. If they can't win some of these games, then, yeah, something is terribly wrong.
Next game, we've got the Buccaneers. We've got the Packers in Lambeau. No line for this one as of right now on Tuesday, so it's a straight pick 'em. Who you got, Bucks or Packers?
Well, Brett Hundley was actually looking kind of good out there for once. I think I'm going to have to say that the Green Bay Packers probably win on that one, but I'm going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because,
Good boy, Mark. Good boy.
Go Bears. I'm not picking the Packers. I mean, obviously.
I'm going with the Bucks, and it's not just because I'm a Vikings fan. Reason why I'm going with the Bucks, the Packers, yeah, they look good. Brett Hundley looked good last week. But the one thing you got to remember is the Steelers are a team that they usually play down to opponents.
Yeah.
And that was a case of the Steelers playing down to an opponent.
But Tampa's not that great.
In the Green Bay Packers. I think Tampa can do enough, and they won't play down to the Packers. I think the Packers are done this season.
They don't need to play down. They're at the same level.
I think that they'll get the win. The Bucks will get the win here. Packers are done, not making the playoffs. You can just sit Aaron Rodgers the rest of the way, not worry about getting him re-injuring that collarbone. Moving on, we're going to the AFC South. We've got the Texans. We've got the Titans. Titans are a 6.5-point favorite, and I will take that Titans over the Texans.
As they should be. I mean, this is a team that is fighting to get into the playoffs against a team that is barely clinging to the playoffs
right now,
Houston.
The Titans are the 3rd seed in the AFC.
Exactly.
To keep that going, especially with how the Chiefs have struggled.
You might be able to climb up a little bit even for Tennessee. That's a team that looks like they're getting hot at the right time.
Moving on, we've got the Broncos 3-8, the Dolphins 4-7. Broncos are only a 1-point favorite right now. Who you got in Miami?
This is one of those games where you really have no idea who to pick, I think. It's kind of a coin flip. I mean, Denver wants a high draft pick, so I'm going to give them the loss.
I was going to say, this is a draft game because the Broncos, I mean, you're sitting there right now. I believe, if my memory serves me correct, you're about at 4, maybe 5 in the draft order. If you lose this, you can fall out of that top 5 and tie yourself with the Miami Dolphins, who are in that 6 to 10 range. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Dolphins at home, more so because the Broncos don't have a quarterback, and 2, they want a better draft pick, and you're going to want them to lose Denver. Just wait until the end. Then you have the Chiefs 6-5 in the next game, the Jets 4-7. Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. Do the Commander and Chiefers turn it around this week in New York?
I really thought that last week would be the week they would do it. You know, this is a team right now that's in a very interesting situation because they are so committed to Alex Smith, and Alex Smith is not getting it done for him right now. And like we talked about last week, Alex Smith is not the issue, but he's not being able to command like he used to.
Kareem Hunt, where were the yards? He only got you 1 point last week.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous. A lot of things go wrong in fantasy football, but you know what? I'm out of the playoffs, so what do I care? It's just a bad situation right now for Kansas City, and I said it last week, so I'll have to agree with it again. Eventually, Andy Reid will figure it out. Eventually, he'll figure out that, I have this run game. I need to get it going. I need this run game, otherwise I will lose.
I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win, but I'm going to pick them to win in a struggle win. I'm taking a line that we usually say on the college side.
Like a 10-6?
Yeah, it's going to be what we call a struggle win. 10-6, 14-10. Going to be a close one. I think it's actually going to be like a high-scoring game, maybe like 32-28 in the 30s. I think the Jets are going to give the Chiefs a run for their money. However, I think the Chiefs finally break it. You can't lose to the Jets. You can't lose to the Jets. The Jets are not that
bad this year.
They're not bad, but really, like, it's still, to me, losing to the Jets is like, really? You lost to the Jets?
They're not that bad.
They're not terrible, but you still lost to the Jets. Moving on, we've got the Colts. We've got the Jaguars. Jacksonville, 9.5-point favorites. I'm going with the Jags
100%.
At home.
100% Jacksonville.
Mark's like, Jacksonville.
It's not even a question.
Moving on. Lions, Ravens, both 6-5, both looking for playoff hunts. Ravens are actually in the playoffs right now if the playoffs were to start. They're a 3-point favorite. Can the Lions win this game, Mark?
I don't know because we're right in this prime Lions kind of mess things up time. At the flip side of it, sometimes this is when they get hot. But they tend to mess things up at the end, and Baltimore is doing just barely enough. I mean, Joe Flacco does not look like the Joe Flacco that we used to ask the question, is he elite? The question's been answered. He's not. And they're just not looking very... I don't know if explosive is the right word, but they are a dink and dunk kind of team. So if Matthew Stafford can command his team out there, then sure, they can win. But on the flip side, I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens because I think they will dink and dunk, and I think that Detroit's doing enough to get in their own way to force themselves out of the playoffs.
I think that the Lions keep this one close. I pick the Ravens because they're at home. If this one was in Detroit, I would pick the Lions. However, I'm going to go with the Ravens at home. That defense plays better at home. Going to go ahead and pick the Ravens. Then to me, this is the most interesting game of the entire Week 13, Mark. The reason why, we have the winless Browns. We have the 5-6 Chargers. Last year, let's rewind to last year.
Yeah.
The Chargers, they got their first win against the Browns. This time it's the Browns winless coming into San Diego. Do the Browns get their revenge and get the first win? The Chargers,
I sure hope so.
Chargers are 2-touchdown favorites.
Yes, they probably should be. I mean, there's no reason why LA should lose to the Browns. With that being said, I'm going to pick the Browns to win this game because I feel like it would be a
show them claws going with the Wolverine.
Right. I feel like it would be an LA Chargers kind of thing to do. And this quite possibly will be the least attended game in the NFL in sheer numbers because 1, the stadium is small. 2, it's Cleveland. 3, it's the Chargers, which nobody in LA really cares about right now. Poor Chargers. They're actually having a good season right now, and the Rams are just having a better season.
And I was wrong. It was not the Chargers who were winless. It was the Browns who were winless. Their only win last year was to the San Diego Chargers.
And they could do it again. They totally can make it happen. Cleveland's got to win one. I forgot who it was. Somebody was going out there and saying that for some reason no one in the media is going ahead and saying it, but he was going to be the one to do it, that Hugh Jackson is a terrible NFL coach. Is absolutely awful. And you know what? I don't disagree. 2 years, 1 win.
I mean, I just say it's Cleveland.
But if you took Cleveland's roster and you took Buffalo's roster, you took the Jets roster, you took some of these bottom feeding teams, you took the Chicago Bears, the Cleveland Browns really have that much worse of a roster than some of these other teams?
Yeah, but it's
really
Cleveland. No, but I'm saying is they don't, but it's Cleveland. Like
Sure.
there's only one thing.
Sure.
There's only one thing that can just scrape that Cleveland
Sure.
that Cleveland
But
like sludge
with that
off you.
being said,
his name's LeBron James.
There's one thing that
play
can
football.
There's one thing that can get that Cleveland sludge off of you. It's getting out of Cleveland.
Yeah.
But
or being LeBron
no,
James.
I definitely agree with this one. The Hugh experiment did not work. He is not a good NFL coach.
Could be over, but
It better be. I mean, the man's won 1 game in 2 years. This team is not bad enough to be 0-16, yet he is potentially going to have an 0-16 season.
all about that money ball. I think the Chargers get the win, money ball, and the Browns lose and go to 0-12. Then a game where it's like Raiders. Raiders win. They're a touchdown favorite over the Giants. Geno Smith, Davis Webb don't have it. Eli not starting.
It's a joke.
Raiders with the win, even without Crabtree.
I think
Crabtree and could be without Cooper because Cooper, I think, is injured.
Yeah. Very likely, I think that Eli ends up playing at some point in this game because Geno's a bad quarterback and
Davis Webb's a rookie.
He's a rookie. Yeah.
Moving on, though, we've got the Panthers. We've got the Saints. This is a prime matchup.
Love it.
I gave you this hypothetical for a playoff game, and guess what? It's happening. Who do you got?
I'm sticking with it.
Panthers and Saints. This time, though, it's in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Or actually, yeah, it would be
It was
in
at New Orleans either way. You know I love to claw up, but in this situation...
Saints are 4-point favorites.
I got to roll with the Saints on this one. I think that they just got a little bit more going for them. They did not have a great game last on Sunday, but I definitely think that they are the better of these two NFC South teams.
Now, Lattimore's injury concerns me, and also you've got this defense right now is not like they're not what they used to be. The one game last week, can they bounce back from it? Lattimore's injury is really what's been hurting them in that department. However, I'm not taking Cam Newton until he proves to me that he is back and not just a fluke. I'm going to take Drew Brees over Cam Newton. Saints with the win in New Orleans.
I think that Cam Newton's been doing quite a bit this season.
Moving on, we've got the last mid-afternoon game. The Rams at 8-3. The Cardinals in Arizona. The Rams are a 7-point favorite. I'm going with LA. How about you?
I think this is a great trap game right here. This is a game where LA can easily
Divisional
be
game.
upset. Yep, and they're on the road going to Arizona. I'm going to lean towards picking Arizona on this one. I definitely think there's a great chance that LA just goes out there and puts up their points. But with the divisional matchup, Arizona's going to want to play tough. I think they can get this trap.
And then our final two games in the prime time on Sunday and Monday. The first one, Sunday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles 10-1, best record in the NFL, going into Seattle, 7-4 Seahawks. The Eagles are 6-point favorites. Who wins this game, Mark? Do the Eagles finally get their second loss of the year?
I think it's very possible, and I hate to say that I hope for it because I like watching the Eagles play. They're a really fun team, just not when they're playing against my team. But you know, I want the Seattle Seahawks to end up in the playoffs. You know, because I think they are such a dangerous team in the playoffs, and that's always fun as well. They're a team that can make some noise, but the thing that scares me a lot, of course, is that offensive line. And I know they have Russell Wilson, so he kind of counters that. But that offensive line, I don't think can do a great job against Philadelphia's defense. So I'm going to kind of have to pick Philadelphia. You know, maybe their celebrations will mean something against a good team. I only bring this up because it popped up on my news feed today with First Take talking about it. I think yesterday with Steven. Was it Steven? I don't know. It was because Kyle Long said it that on the Chicago Bears that he's like, these celebrations are getting a little ridiculous. And
I like them.
They were fun to watch, and I love that the announcers are giving the Eagles shit about bullshit. You didn't rehearse that because everybody is involved in this synchronized dance. You rehearsed it.
My favorite one from Thanksgiving was when Case Keenum ran in the touchdown, and then they all sat down and were like passing around Thanksgiving.
No, I think
they're fun.
Well, I think it's fun. I think the Kyle Long's point is that his team lost, but two, it was also
if you're on the losing end,
it's also the fact that the Eagles were celebrating everything that happened in that game, and you're playing the third to worst team in the NFL. No duh, you don't need to celebrate. It reminds me of Pernell McPhee, I believe it was, who celebrated a sack.
Oh no, that was Lamar Houston.
Oh, Lamar Houston, who
celebrated and tore his
a
ACL.
sack when the team is losing by like 3 possessions, and then he got hurt.
Tore like an MCL or something. ACL, MCL.
It's just one of those things where it's like, all right, you had your fun, but you're playing the Bears.
Last game of the week, Steelers at Bengals. I'm going with the Steelers, who are 5-point favorites. How about you? Do the Bengals get the upset?
Well, I mean, they could because
in the jungle,
like you yourself have said, and I know we mentioned this a lot on the podcast. The Steelers play down, and it's divisional, and you're on the road. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that the Pittsburgh Steelers win this one, and you know, I don't really like the Bengals this year, and I that's not a hot take. They've won what, 4 games? I'm not a big Bengals fan this year.
I want to ask you this, and this is kind of the one thing that we'll end this on, is I was listening to Colin Cowherd today, and one of his main points is the reason why he doesn't like the Steelers compared to like a team like the Patriots. He's like, Patriots have a system. The Steelers don't have a system. They're a team that's off of emotion, and they're very ups and downs, hills and valleys. Do you agree with that with the Steelers?
No,
that
I think
they don't have like.
I think it's really stupid to say a team doesn't have a system. Every NFL team has a system. If you don't have a system, you don't play.
Overall, not like, hey, this is our offensive system, but like I think more so meant culture. That's what I was looking for. It doesn't have the same culture that like the Patriots have.
No, I don't think the Steelers don't have a culture. I think that's a dumb comment too. I like Colin Cowherd, but I think he's 100% off. People get really big on this whole Bill Belichick culture bullshit. And, you know, and I'm not saying that the Patriots don't have a way about them and this vibe, but you know what that vibe really comes from? The fact that they've won a lot. That's what it is. It's not that Bill Belichick goes out there and says, I'm going to set the clocks 5 minutes back. You better be there on time.
I mean, we're not talking about...
They go and they win.
We're not talking about Hugh Jackson's system.
Yeah. They just have a culture about them because they win. And part of the way they win is because they do feel like they're better than everybody. And Bill Belichick is constantly trying to outsmart everybody. You know, thus we have Spygate. Because it wasn't actually illegal. It wasn't against the rules. You could do it. You just technically shouldn't do it. You have something like that where it's just Bill Belichick trying to get the upper hand. And you have situations like that. I don't really buy into this team just has this amazing culture that no other team could ever possibly replicate. Sorry, Sean, but no, I don't buy it. I think that's silly. I think it's a silly comment to say.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what games you're excited for. Who do you got winning the big matchups? And like I said, which games are you excited for this week? A little bit of housekeeping here at the end. If you like the podcast, like what we're doing here at Most Valuable Podcast, make sure to check out patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. Help us out a little bit more than you guys do each and every day. And also, if you're on iTunes, if you have an iTunes, give us that 5-star rating. Then go do the same for the Primetime Podcast, the Fast Break, and the Rick and Johnny Podcast. I want to thank you guys for either watching on YouTube, if you're listening on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker, if you're on TuneIn Radio, if you're on Stitcher, however you're listening to us, thank you for giving us your time today. And as always, have a good day, everybody.